Hello, I'm BBM, and this is Chapter 3 of my TRS Saga 0% Growth playthrough. So firstly, in the item preparations, I just had Kate deposit her shield. I'm trying to save the wood shields and other shields for as late in the game as I can, because right now my characters haven't fallen behind in stats compared to the enemies, so they don't really need the shields to survive. Later on, it could become really helpful. They could become really necessary. I also gave the Lance Mirror to Neron. As you see, this map is unique in that the enemies get the first turn, not the players. And also, every enemy unit in this chapter is mounted, and almost all of them come rushing at you at the beginning of the map, except for the boss. So Rathan is going to see a lot of enemy-based combat on the first turn. So he gets attacked by 6 Cavaliers, I think, and he needs to survive. He needs to get hit by only one of them. So that 5% boost from the mirror could be the difference between him living and dying. Beyond surviving the enemy's cavalry rushes, there isn't really much to this chapter. You probably noticed by now that this is the exact same map from Chapter 1. So the villagers in this map are really nice, apparently, because not only did they give us a bunch of items in Chapter 1, they're giving us more items now. It's especially essential to get Runen up there. There's a white house in the bottom right that he needs to visit to unlock a whole bunch of events that happen later on in the game, which lead to several characters being recruited. There's also, in those houses, is the Night Proof that Neron needs to promote. There's also a house that you might have noticed in Chapter 1 that I didn't visit, with a blue roof. So, in this game, not only can skills be learned as you level up, there's also certain houses and places which teach characters skills. So that house with the blue roof teaches the Sea Fighter skill. I was not really sure whether to give that to Runen or Neron at first. Neron obviously should be obvious why I wanted to give it to him. You know, he's my best combat unit. He will be after he promotes anyways. Runen, the reason I thought of giving it to him maybe was because I was looking at the LTC playthroughs that Don151 and Espinosa did of this game, and they taught Sea Fighter to Runen. So I thought it might come in handy, but after I did a little bit of digging in their threads, they just, I think, used it to save a turn in one map. And it might not even be possible for me to do that with my weaker characters. So I think overall, Neron getting it will be more helpful. The other thing is that while there are quite a few sea maps in this game, most of them don't feature Runen. We'll see later on, but there's a second Lord character in this game, and once we get him, the game alternates between following him and following Runen, and most of the sea maps are in his chapters. So Runen having it wouldn't make too much of a difference. It actually kind of sucks that I have to get Runen up there to visit that house for the event, because I remembered why I originally wanted to feed Runen the boss kill in the last chapter. While he can't gain stats, at level 15, he does learn a fairly useful offensive skill called Rising Dragon. He's required near the end of the map, near the end of the game, to assist in a lot of combat situations. Particularly, he has to help kill the final boss of the game. And just, there's quite a few situations in the very end of the game where him having better combat would be really helpful. So, I'm not entirely sure if Rising Dragon will even do anything when his stats are so bad, but it can't hurt, and you know, it's not like I have anybody else other than Neron to give experience to, really. It kind of sucked that all those Cavaliers used herbs rather than continuing to attack me. but somebody might have died if they hadn't done that. Anyways, here you're gonna see Runen actually use the rapier, the rapier's effectiveness against mounts to do something. You probably also saw those mounted thieves coming in at the bottom left of the map. I don't think I mentioned this in the last map, but the thieves in that map and the mounted thieves in this one, and thieves in general, won't attack playable units most of the time if there are villages that can still be pillaged. I say most of the time because there were definitely one or two situations when I was going through chapter 2 where they did attack me even with villages able to be pillaged. So I'm not quite sure what the deal is, maybe just some glitch in the AI. But these ones, the mounted thieves here, definitely will attack. So you'll see like Prominente being right beside them, and they're not really in any danger at all. You probably saw that star beside Runen's memory staff, or sorry, not Runen's, Entei's memory staff just now. That doesn't indicate a preferred weapon. All it indicates is that the weapon can't be repaired by a hammer. It can only be repaired by a repair staff. I don't really know what the design justification behind that was, because there are better weapons in the game that can be repaired by a hammer, but whatever. Also, I mentioned this on Seren's Forest, but I don't think I've said it so far in this video. I really apologize for how shaky the video for chapter 2 ended up becoming. When I was uploading the video on YouTube, YouTube told me that the video was very shaky and that I should use its stabilize function, which is why it was sort of like zooming in and out. But then, which is okay, but then for some reason it also like it randomly just jerked the video at parts. It just ended up looking really bad. I didn't realize that it would have such a big effect. I only viewed the final video before I uploaded on YouTube and not after. And just moving Neon, Raffen, and Bart's up there to take the brunt of the enemies in the next phase. Yeah, and you see here, like, I don't know what I was doing with Kate. For some reason I thought that, I guess she didn't have the bowgun equipped, but she did. So then I like unequipped it and then re-equipped it. Yeah. So like Runen's gonna get attacked now by the first enemy in this on this turn, but he's fine. Like none of the other cavaliers can attack him because they can't really traverse over that beach terrain, or at least not without sacrificing a ton of movement. Also, you guys might have seen these items called gold bags that I've picked up over the course of the last couple of chapters. So what those are, they're not gold, not yet anyways. So there's two things you can do with a gold bag. You can either sell it to a vendor, in which case you get a fixed amount of gold for it. I think something like 2,000 or 3,000. Or you can open the gold bag, in which case you can get a very low amount of gold for it. Anywhere from I think like 1,000 to 7,000. Basically, it's kind of like you can either gamble and risk getting a piddly amount, or get a really high amount, or you can just sell it for a mediocre, below average amount. Most of the time, I think I'm pretty sure it's more like it's a better choice to use the item, to use the gold bag rather than selling it. Like if at least normally when I open gold bags, I open like a bunch at a time, and I've almost always gotten more than the average, like cumulatively, if I just sold them. So with this hit, Neon will finally hit level 10, so he'll be able to promote with the Night Proof he gets, or Night Proof Christ will pick up from villages later on in the chapter. He doesn't promote this chapter. I could have had him do so, but I'd have to wait around for an extra turn. Not that matters so much, but just, you know, I like to think of my audience, like to keep the videos as small as possible, and he's not really doing anything on the first turn of chapter 4 anyways. Just sending Raffen up north now to take care of the boss. So at this point, I have Julia attack that Cavalier, the Bow Cavalier, but I think the video ended right there in the middle of the attack. So when the new video started, it kind of just cut that right out. But yeah, Julia weakened that Bow Cavalier down to 2 HP, which is why Arceus is able to finish him off here with the Stone Spear. This, since I'm skipping all the plot and stuff, all the script, it's not readily apparent, but the game kind of pushes certain character pairings. Like, there's no paired endings like there are in like Fire 7 and 8 and stuff, but most of the supports, the hidden evade supports, are between characters who are like trying to like build some sort of romance up that the game is trying to hint at. So there was Arceus and Estelle and Runen and Entei in chapter 2. There isn't really anything in this chapter. As for the other characters, Kate has a kind of thing with this character we'll recruit in chapter 5. I don't think Neron has anything with anyone actually, although I might be mistaken. It's kind of actually amusing, but Rapin has something with like 2 or 3 different women. I can't remember which ones exactly. I think Kate may be one of them. Like, I'm not sure he actually gets supports from any of them, but there's definitely like it's the script says that Rapin hooks up with like a bunch of women, which is pretty funny. It's kind of difficult to see exactly, but the screen like the stat window for the bandits is a slightly different color than that of the other enemies. I guess that's the game's way of telling you that they're not exactly allied. They're kind of like NPCs, except they still move with the enemy and they're still against you, and they won't attack the other enemies anyway and stuff. It wasn't really strictly necessary to have Rapin stay on the forest. To be honest, it was probably more of a detriment than anything, because it means the boss could also attack Rapin from the forest. But I don't think it doesn't actually end up making a difference. I should have moved Arceus further up north so that he could visit some more villages, but you know, I think I was just trying to, I don't know what I was doing here. Anyways, so it's the enemy's turn. So now we see the boss fight, well, part 1 of the boss fight between Erish and Rapin. Yeah, the boss is pretty bad. He gets doubled by Rapin. And Rapin almost one round KOs him at base 2. If this was 0%, if this wasn't 0% goats, rather, he almost certainly would have gotten a strength level up by now and would have cleanly killed the boss, but such is life. Yeah, I have Arceus visit that, Christ pick up a re-movement book now from that village. So, this game also has skill scrolls. I think Fire Emblem 5 had this as well, where, you could teach skills to characters with scrolls. The only thing is, that was the Kanto scroll can only be taught to characters with horses, and I think almost all mounted units learn Kanto naturally sooner or later anyways, and certainly the ones that I'm going to be using learn it very early. Christ and Arceus learn it kind of late, so it could be useful for them, but they're not worth using. Runen also got an Iron Spear, so that is the equivalent to the Iron Sword we picked up in chapter 1. That Iron Spear also has 50 kills, or 51, I think. So yeah, the Iron Spears a little better than the Iron Sword because lances are better than swords. This game has hit rates comparable to Fire Emblem 6, but the weird thing is, like, in Fire Emblem 6, at least swords had good hit. In this game, like, just there isn't really any one. I think it's lances that have the best average hit, weirdly enough. Axes, like, they're kind of all over the place in terms of hit, and so are swords. Like, the Iron Sword is weirdly inaccurate. Like, not extremely inaccurate, but not as accurate as you would expect. Yeah, so this is Neron learning the Sea Fighter skill. I can't skip this for whatever reason, but yeah, anyways, there we go. Neron becomes a pirate cavalier, and this is the last turn of the chapter now, I think. Yeah, so I just have, I think I wanted to have, Kate get this last kill for whatever reason, or rather I wanted Bartz to get that last kill, but then Bartz couldn't get to it, so then I was like, whatever, I'll have Kate finish him off. But then Kate didn't do enough damage because that dude actually has a shield. So yeah, Raffen finished him off, and that is chapter 3. I'll see you guys next time.